Have you been charged with indecent exposure in Washington state? If so, you're probably pretty worried. My name is Lance Fryrear. I'm the owner of the law offices of Lance Fryrear. We've been defending people charged with crimes, including indecent exposure, for more than 20 years. And I'm making this video to let you know what to expect, what the elements are, what the penalties might be, and how we might be able to help defend this case. Um, this is not the first time I've spoken about this. I've been actually interviewed a few times on the radio for some reason. I guess I'm the indecent exposure attorney. Um, and indecent exposure is either a simple misdemeanor, a gross misdemeanor, or even a felony, depending on certain different factors for this potential crime. So first of all, how is indecent exposure defined? What does it mean? Well, the law says that it's the crime of indecent exposure to basically purposely expose yourself, basically your private parts, to another person, knowing that that exposure will cause a reasonable affront or alarm. So it's sort of complicated sounding, isn't it? Here's one way to think about it. I've actually been on the radio because of the Fremont solstice parade, and there's a history of people biking naked at that parade. And so, if you were to bike naked through at the solstice parade, you're likely have a good shot of not being arrested in the parade because people expect that. It's normally what happens, so you don't expect it to cause a reasonable affront or alarm at the parade. But let's say you leave your house and you bike naked all the way and you go through a church picnic in getting there. Well, that is probably likely to cause a reasonable affront or alarm to those picnickers, and therefore you might get charged with indecent exposure. So that's one way to think about it. So what level of crime is indecent exposure? Well, if it's a first offense and the person that is sort of the victim of the exposure, the person that sees the defendant, is above 14, then that's a simple misdemeanor. That's 90 days in jail. The person is younger, it's a gross misdemeanor, a year in jail max. And if you have a prior offense for indecent exposure or any prior sex offense, and that's a term of art, so you would need to talk to a lawyer, then it's a Class C felony. And for a Class C felony, the maximum is 5 years. So it's really important, no matter what, if you get charged with indecent exposure, get yourself an attorney, because the penalties are serious and it's not something you really want on your record. So how do we defend a charge of indecent exposure? Well, first of all, we sort of find out what happened. Is this a real problem that you have? Or is there something that we need to get some counseling about? Is it something that we want to work on? In my firm, we're not going to have any judgment. We're going to do our best to try to, understand and see how we can improve from the situation. But it also might have just been an accident, so that could be a defense. Let's say, you're just Mother Nature called and you were outside and someone saw you and they think you were purposely exposing yourself and you weren't, because, that's a different, urinating in public is typically an infraction, not a crime. But if the law enforcement thinks you did that on purpose to sort of cause someone alarm, then that could be the charge of indecent exposure. So we might defend that it was an accident. No matter what, we're going to look at the situation, look at your past history and what the people saw or didn't saw, and then do our best to try to make, the prosecution and the court understand that there needs to be a way to resolve this without having, hopefully, to convict you or put you in jail. So if you do get charged with this and it's a misdemeanor, you're going to need to go to court. You might have multiple court dates. You need to get yourself a private attorney or a public defender, and just don't do it alone, because prosecutors don't like this charge. It can be a very, very serious charge in the way prosecutors think about it. So I hope you found this video helpful. Again, my name is Lance Fryrear. I'm the owner of the law offices of Lance Fryrear. Again, we've been open for more than 20 years helping people. We'd be happy to talk to you if you or your loved one is in this situation. Again, we don't have any judgment. We want to do our best to help. Just give us a call. We'll do everything we can, and we'll be there for you. Thank you.